Aries. So I was connecting with your energy before I turned on the camera and picked up my cards, and I felt panic, fear. I felt worry and anxiety, and I felt scared. I felt scared. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This will be the third time I try to do this reading. I did it once, and it was dark, and I felt like it couldn't possibly apply to everybody. So I tried it again, and then I had a malfunction on my electronics, and it was also very dark. And so this time around, regardless of what the cards have to say, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to relay the information that the cards give me, and I'm going to do it as it is. I will say this, that the energies surrounding Aries right now are very it's like an analogy here. It's like you and your friend were taking a walk on a mountain path, and your friend slipped off the edge, and all you can do is watch in horror as they fall. That feeling, that helpless panic, is the exact feeling I'm feeling. It is very intense. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather, so pardon my coughing. It's a very intense energy. It is definitely unpleasant. So I'm hoping that the cards this time will have more positive news for you, but I feel most definite, very heavy and very kind of scary energies. This is the third time I've tried to do this reading, so let's connect to Aries. Let's pull cards for Aries for the month of December of 2017. The Aries energy. One. Two. Split. One. Okay. You have the Chariot. You have the Five of Swords in reverse. And you also have the Star. Now the interesting thing is that I believe Leo pulled the Star in the same position. This is interesting because that's another fire sign. And it's definitely something that to consider. Maybe this is a fire sign sort of deal. So let's start with the Chariot here. There's the element of motion, of moving, of going forward, of starting something, of beginning, of moving quickly, of motion, action, go, go, go. There's also the feeling here of getting away from you a little bit. You do have the Five of Swords in reverse, so I feel like maybe you feel like things are getting out of hand. Maybe you're having a lot of negative emotions because you feel the pressure on you. You feel that that panicky feeling of, if I don't make something happen quick, things are gonna go negatively. Now, this is a general reading. It may not resonate for everybody. What I do see here is that there is this feeling of internally you are feeling tired. You're feeling stressed out. You're feeling lonely. You're feeling left out. Even though you're probably not alone, I do feel like you have this, like... So I'm going to pull clarifiers here. I forgot to tell you guys in the beginning of the video that from now on, I'm going to pull up to 2 clarifiers per video. And so what I want to do is I want to pull a clarifier on this Chariot here. Yeah, I want to pull a clarifier on this Chariot here. I want to get some clarification of what this Chariot and how it applies to this. Yep. Okay. So I feel like you are very quick to... Okay. Before I continue on, I want to connect these 2 cards here with a clarifier. Yeah. Okay. I feel like you're almost deciding whether just to stay or go. I feel like you're almost deciding, like, or you've been weighing out all of your options, and you've been you've been trying to make a rational, reasonable decision based on facts rather than based on emotions. However, you feel like somewhat your mind gets the best of you. I feel like you put a lot of time, energy, money, whatever it may be, into a project that did not give you returns, that did not turn out to be the way that you wanted it to be, that turned out to be something much different. It turned out to be less of a blessing and more of some sort of, how do I put this, some sort of trial? Does that make sense? I don't know if trial is the right term to use here, but I do feel like there is this sense, I don't know if trial is the right word. Trial's not the right word. I'm going to come right out and say it. And I've been trying to avoid it, but all of your readings are saying the same thing. You are in a situation that is not great. It has caused you a lot of emotional baggage, burden, and you have been fighting upstream this entire time. I feel like you've been fighting the waves, you've been fighting the road, you've been fighting everything, trying to make something work, but it's like fitting a square peg into a round hole. It just does not work. I feel like you've weighed out a lot of your options. You've tried to see things from objective standpoints, or not objective, but you've tried to look at things from different angles quite a few times to try to make this work. But the result is the same. Is that deep down inside of you, you know that if you don't follow your internal guidance system and do what is right, you are going to end up in a position that you don't want to be in. I know that you feel that you have this need to be this champion, but you're not a champion. And it's not a negative thing is why I'm saying that. What I'm saying is you don't need to be anybody's champion. You don't need to be the knight in shining armor. You don't need to be any of that. Because a situation that is conducive to what you want is a situation that doesn't require so much from you in order to make it happen. It should be easy. It should flow right. It should feel right. It shouldn't feel strained. It shouldn't feel worrisome or bothersome. It should just feel good. If this is a relationship thing, then obviously you're struggling with I feel like there's an imbalance here, like a severe imbalance. If it's not a relationship and you're talking about a job, maybe you I feel like maybe you have been bucking the tide. Bucking the tide is a term about, going against the waves. And you can work really, really hard and not make any progress. And that, as I said, this is the third time I've done this reading. And the first 2 times I did this reading, the first one in particular, was scary. Excuse me. It was scary because it laid out a series of cards that talked about being in the wrong place, doing the wrong thing. I worry that these cards are a representation of something that is not going the right way. You're feeling bad about it. Somebody is planning, plotting, and excuse me, I'm sorry. Someone is trying to weigh out all their options, whether it be you or the person this is in reference to. Now, I will say this, you have it's almost like you have somebody working against you to keep you from making progress. Well, that's a really kind of a dark thing to say, but it looks like at the end of this reading, there's this breakaway. There's this breakaway here. So from the 1st to the 15th, Aries, I recommend that you keep a level head, that you look at things in the big picture, and that you do your best to try and weigh your options. You try to make sure that you are being treated fairly. And if you're not, if you give more than you're given, which it definitely looks like that's the case, that perhaps you think about what it's going to take to settle up the score. If this is a job, if it's a work, it doesn't really matter what the situation is. What it is telling me is that there is a need for you to feel free, to feel like you have hope, to feel like you have a chance. And right now, what you feel like is you're just swimming upriver. There's a lot of blockages, a lot of walls. Be very careful. From the 1st to the 15th, Aries, I wish you luck, and I hope things are going to improve by the middle of the month.